Good evening and welcome to our first episode of Forecast from Flagstaff. My name is Chad Eichhoff and I serve as Director of Admissions here at Northern Arizona University, and I'm joined by my colleague Annika.
Hi, my name is Annika Olson and I serve as the Vice President of Enrollment Management here at Northern Arizona University. Given the events of the last week and a half, I wanted to take a moment to echo President Chang's message to campus and our constituents earlier this week, encouraging unity and peaceful discord. Now more than ever, we want to ensure that all members of our campus, state, and nation feel valued, safe, and protected. Thank you for joining us for our first episode of Forecast from Flagstaff. We will be airing every other Wednesday at 5 p.m. to give you necessary information to prepare for what fall 2020 will look like, albeit amidst some different circumstances than we traditionally have on campus. We know you have many questions top of mind, and so now on YouTube and Facebook, you can start asking those questions of us that we will spend time each and every episode answering toward the end of our time together.
You know what, Annika? It wouldn't be Forecast from Flagstaff if we didn't do at least a little bit of a weather forecast. But quick disclaimer, I am not a meteorologist. I have no training as a meteorologist. But I can tell you, as I look up at the peaks, and I've got a beautiful view of the peaks from here on the North Quad, it's absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, the weather here in the North Quad is beautiful. And as I look to the west, I think we're dialing up another beautiful Flagstaff sunset as well. We're here in front of Old Main, where it all began back in 1899. And to hear a little bit more about the North Quad, we're going to turn it over to one of our students, Corbin.
So we're here on North Quad, one of the most historic and scenic areas of campus, where as a tour guide, I can definitely say this is my favorite stop along the tour route, where you can frequently see students slacklining, hammocking, studying, or just enjoying the scenery of North Quad itself. Directly to North Quad is both Prochnow Auditorium, where free concerts and movies are held frequently for students, as well as 1899 Bar and Grill, a really nice dining facility here on campus that students can actually use a portion of their meal plan to pay for. That being said, Annika and Chad, back to you.
Thanks, Corbin. I think it was absolutely fitting that there was a graduation photo happening in the background of Corbin's video. The steps in front of Old Main, certainly a popular spot for our students to take those graduation photos. And I know many incoming students as well as current students that may be tuning in today will, in short order at some point, in a short of 4 years, for our incoming students, taking photos in their graduation gear on the front steps of Old Main as well. And also a quick shout out, congratulations to all of our recent grads from NAU, over 5,000 graduates recently just last month. Every single week we have students take over our Instagram story, and it's a great opportunity for incoming students to ask questions of current students. So certainly would encourage you to do that there. I know many of our incoming students recently chose NAU, and tonight we're going to take a few samples from those Instagram stories of students answering the question why they chose NAU.
I chose NAU because it is close to the reservation, and I wanted to learn more about my Navajo heritage and how that plays into who I am and who I want to be.
I chose NAU originally for the outdoor recreation and four seasons that Flagstaff has to offer. And now that I've been here, I really do appreciate the opportunity that Flagstaff and NAU has given me.
I decided to choose NAU mainly because of the scholarships and the grants I was being given, and also because we have all 4 seasons here, which is something we can't experience back home.
Yes, 100%. I was nervous. I was going to a state I've never been before, and I didn't know what to expect, but at the same time, I was excited. It's okay to be nervous. Being nervous means that something important is going to happen.
Hearing from students about why they chose NAU is always so exciting, and all the feelings surrounding that big life decision. Joining me is Dr. Megan Gavin, who's a director in our campus health services area, specifically the counseling center. Megan has been a psychologist since 2009 and has served in the director position for the last 3 years. Thanks for joining me, Megan.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure, Annika.
Yeah, during this uncertain time, we've seen so many examples across the country, highlighted on TV and social media about how folks have shown resiliency during this time. Can you share with us some examples that you've seen in the last couple months of our own students showing resiliency?
Absolutely. I'm proud to be able to share a couple of those examples. And first, I think it would be important to just talk about what is resilience. In its basic form, it's the ability or capacity to recover quickly from a difficulty or a difficult time. And as you've mentioned, this is a really difficult and strange time. A couple examples that come to mind right away. I've had clients ongoing for many years, and one of them was getting ready to graduate, was very excited about the pomp and circumstance and the formalities of the ceremony, as well as being able to say goodbye to all of her peers and instructors from the last 4 years. So clearly she was grieving come March and April when it became clear there would not be a formal ceremony, at least in person, and that she wouldn't be able to have the experience she had been anticipating. However, after naming her grief and thinking through her options, she quickly recovered and was able to create a graduation ceremony for herself at home with friends and family, socially distanced, of course. And then others that come to mind would be the quick transition to online learning for many of our students and their fears around what that would look like, how they would perform. And I have to say, all of my clients came through successfully, and not only with passing grades, but A's and B's, and were really just wonderful performances.
So encouraging.
Yeah, happy to share.
So how can students and parents be mindful of self-care during this uncertain and in time of unrest as well?
Great question. And again, could speak about this for hours and hours. And of course, self-care is really individualized. But a few things come to mind, particularly from my professional perspective. I know that routine and schedule are really important. So whether that is simply getting dressed and knowing which Netflix shows you're going to watch at which time, or whether that means you have a really structured day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., it doesn't really matter. But having a little bit of structure is key right now for folks. Also, I would say just checking in with each other. This is a time that none of us have ever experienced, and asking each other, how are you doing? Looking for signs and symptoms that may indicate more concerning things like anxiety and depression would be really helpful, and being patient with one another. And then lastly, find ways to decrease isolation, whether in real life or virtually. It's really important to be able to connect with others during this time.
Yeah, great advice. So last question, what can students expect in terms of support from Campus Health Services and your team when they arrive back on campus in the fall?
Great question. I can speak for all of Campus Health Services to say we expect to be able to offer the full range of integrated services, from prevention to primary care to counseling services, etc. And certainly within counseling services, we have been operating at full capacity in terms of our services, and will continue to do so. We do anticipate a mixture of in-person and telehealth or web-based services depending on staff and student preferences and comfort level.
Great.
Thank
you so much for spending some time with us today, Megan. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We're going to hear now from one of our student athletes, number 17 on our women's volleyball team, on how she has balanced being a student as well as an athlete. So let's go ahead and hear from Abby.
I've always wanted to play Division I volleyball, so I tried to work really hard and balance going to school and getting an education, but I also have weights at 6 a.m., practice every day, leave for tournaments. Trying to make sure you get all your work done on the road can be a struggle. I feel like I will look back on my career and be really proud of everything I did, the person I've become, and how much I've grown in different parts of my life. Learning about yourself and learning from other people, that makes it worth it. I will be pursuing my master's in secondary education to teach high school science. My name is Abby Stump, and I'm a lumberjack.
I'm always proud of our student athletes getting it done, not only on the court, but also in the classroom. Also excited to hear that Abby plans to be a teacher. I think that her students will be lucky to have a teacher like her. And here at NAU, we are lucky to have lots of great faculty, and one of those faculty members that we are super fortunate to have is Dr. Paul Keim, one of our Regent professors here on campus. He oversees the work at the Pathogen and Microbiomes Institute, which is at the forefront of COVID-19 research. Recently, we had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Keim and talk a little bit about the COVID-19 situation. There's a longer interview available on YouTube and Facebook, but we do want to show you a segment from that interview now.
Paul, can you share some information about what the COVID-19 Genomics Union is? It's a fairly unique, broad-based effort to bring together a lot of different organizations and entities like the PMI at NAU to be a team, if you will, in going after and finding the solutions that are going to get us through this COVID-19 pandemic. What is that?
So in Flagstaff, we have unique infrastructure. We have the high containment laboratories where we can actually handle and study the COVID-19 virus. That's unique. It's not very many places in the United States and almost nowhere else in Arizona that this can happen. So if we're going to make an impact in Arizona, we can't just sit up here in our castle and work by ourselves. We have to develop this network of collaborators across the state of Arizona and indeed across the world. So what we've been trying to do is sequence the genomes of viruses from as many positive patients as we can and start to build a genomic model for how the disease came into Arizona and how it's progressing. The Genome Union is able to do that because we share data across the institutions, and we share expertise. Currently in the United States and indeed around the world, there are similar type of tracking unions for tracking foodborne outbreaks like E. coli. And so there are big national and international databases for foodborne pathogens already. And indeed, in the COVID-19 example, there are global efforts going on and national efforts going on. What's different about this is we're taking this to the regional level. In other words, we know what's happening in Arizona. We're not waiting for some federal agency to tell us what's happening in Arizona. We're digging in and doing it now and doing it in real time in order to help the citizens of Arizona.
I'm always amazed by Dr. Keim. Every time I see an interview or hear him speak, I'm always amazed, and we are so fortunate to have him as part of our campus community. He also employs nearly 50 undergraduate students in his lab, so our students are very fortunate, and they have such amazing experience in his lab environment. Well, we see all your questions and chatter on YouTube and Facebook, and we're anxious to dive into those questions. I'll just start by saying we are doing so much to prepare for a safe campus environment for students, faculty, and our staff. As we're leading into the fall semester. So we're looking at classroom density and capacity to make sure we can socially distance in the classroom, as well as in our dining and residence halls, in those student gathering places that we know are so important. And we have a number of those, North Quad certainly being one
Absolutely.
of those where students enjoy spending time together on campus. So over the next couple episodes, we'll really be diving deep into a number of those different specifics as they are solidified for your return to campus. But rest assured, your safety is our primary concern with our preparations. Chad, you want to start us with some questions?
For sure, yeah, absolutely. Lots of questions coming in. I'm watching the feed right now on social media. And the first question that I think is a big one is, will there be testing on campus for COVID-19?
Great question. Well, you heard from Megan Gavin in our campus health services area. And since the pandemic started, our campus health services area and our medical services team there have been doing tests for students, faculty, and staff as needed. And that has continued and will continue through the fall semester. We have some amazing partnerships with labs here, TGen being one of those. So we are making sure our testing protocols are in place, certainly as we continue through the summer and lead into the fall.
I absolutely love the dialogue going on here as well, too. There's students currently, I think, looking for roommates and having conversations around that as well.
Good.
And we even heard from a student that is currently doing their orientation module, their virtual orientation. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about virtual orientation. So we have transitioned off of the on-campus orientation model and have moved to a virtual orientation. We have 5 different one-week kind of blocks for orientation. And with that, the first one just wrapped up last week. We're in week 2 right now. If you haven't registered for orientation yet, no worries at all. Can still do that. Go to nau.edu/orientation. And what that's going to be then, in that week prior, you're going to hear from your orientation leader. So current or incoming students, we're going to still pair you up with one of our current students that serves as an orientation leader. And they're going to reach out to you. They're going to send you the link to the online orientation modules. And they're also going to set up a couple of Zoom appointment times. We realize that it's an important part of orientation, that ability to meet other students that are incoming students as well as other current students. And that Zoom platform is going to allow at least some of that ability to meet other students before you come to campus. So that's a great opportunity there. The modules are going to be online, and you can complete those typically within maybe an hour, 2 hours. I've got different people weighing in on YouTube as far as how long it's taken them to complete the modules. But that's going to be some important information that we think is important for you to learn as students. Now, kind of separate but sort of together is the advising piece as well too. Typically when we're on campus, one of the parts of orientation was to meet with your academic advisor. Advising has gone virtual as well this summer. So your academic advisor is going to reach out around an appointment time to meet with them over Zoom as well. Now that advising appointment might not happen during the week of orientation. Those two things are not necessarily going to happen during the same week. But be checking your NAU email address. That's where your academic advisor is going to be communicating to you about that advising appointment time. And it's really important just to know that over the course of the summer, many offices will communicate to your NAU email address. So make the habit, start checking that NAU email address. Lots of important information coming in there. Let's see, what other questions do we have coming in here? A couple around visiting campus. Annika, if you want to talk around options to visit campus right now.
Great. Well, in March, when COVID was named a national and global pandemic, we were very quick to pivot to make sure students and their families had many different ways to still visit, a little differently than traditional visits. So we have a number of virtual visit options. We also have an audio podcast that you can download, as well as a map of that podcast. So if you do find yourself in Flagstaff enjoying some of our gorgeous weather, or if you're a local Flagstaffian, you could do that and walk that campus tour and listen to it individually or as a family. And as we create guidelines noting the CDC and health precautions, we will be communicating with folks if any of those virtual options can be in person later in the summer.
I've seen several questions come in regarding housing and what they're doing in terms of a survey. So currently, if you're planning to live on campus, you would have received information about going into the housing portal and listing a few things that may be of interest to you. And really, there's kind of 3 topics that they're asking for if you have interest in. And it's important to note, just marking that you're interested in them does not mean that you're guaranteed to get those options. We're in the data collection phase, trying to understand how many students are interested in these different options. So the first option would be buying out a double room as a single room, so selecting if you're interested in that one. We're also collecting interest on if you're interested in a suite style residence hall room. And then the final one is collecting interest on if you want a different roommate, and you would list the name of that person in there as far as what roommate. And again, all three of those, not a guarantee that you're going to get them just because you select them. And the Housing and Residence Life Office would reach out to you before actually making one of those changes as well too. So we're simply in the data collection phase right now, and my understanding is by Friday they're asking the 5th, June 5th is when they're hoping to have answers and have students respond to that survey. And again, as Annika mentioned, we're bringing our Housing and Residence Life staff to our next episode. And we're going to be able to answer a lot of those questions more in depth, because I know in various parent webinars we've done and student webinars, a lot of the common questions do have to do with housing. So that's certainly going to be a part of the next episode.
Certainly part of the campus experience too. So we'll break down all of that with the Housing and Residence Life team on our next episode.
So we've gotten lots of questions too around start date, and I know that several campuses around the country have moved to earlier start dates, earlier end dates to the semester. What's NAU's plan there?
Great, and this is hot off the presses, so you are actually the first big group that will know this. We are going to start our semester on Wednesday, August 12th, and we're doing that so we can conclude all instruction and final exams by the Thanksgiving holiday. Now, there's one more step. Our Arizona Board of Regents is doing the final vote on that early start date tomorrow, so expect an email making it official, but we're almost to the finish line there. So August 12th.
Well, lots of great questions coming in, and certainly didn't get to all the questions, but as always, we're going to look back at those questions and help it inform what we do for future episodes for Forecast from Flagstaff. I certainly enjoyed this first episode, and
so
hopefully those of you tuning in at home enjoyed it as well. Our next episode is going to be every 2 weeks throughout the summer. So our next episode is going to be June 17th at 5 p.m. And we hope you'll tune in then. And we're going to keep communicating and keep helping you prepare for this fall semester. And we're excited to welcome you back here on campus.
Yay. Go Jacks!
Go Jacks. Good night.